my role, I'm in the tourism team there. And my role there is our campaign marketing. So all of the destination promotion that we do is part of my responsibility. So it's actually really lovely. I'm fairly new to council. I've joined the organisation a few months ago. My background has always been in the corporate world, always in tourism. I've worked for organisations like Destination Melbourne. I was there for quite a few years, and Philippine Nature Park and other tourism-based and industry associations as well. So I've worked on the supply side as well as the demand side. I've worked in small businesses. I've worked in local winery down the Moreton Finish, so I understand the trials and tribulations of working in business and you know, working in the private sector. So the local council world, local government world is relatively new to me, but tourism and destination marketing is very much an area that is close to my heart and very familiar with. So it's great to have you guys all here tonight. The fact that we can all be together is really great. I was talking to a colleague today, she's like, oh, you'll know everyone, and I'm sure they'll all know everyone. I'm like, no, no, this is the first chance I've got to meet you guys face to face, which is really lovely. And I'm hoping it's the beginning of lots of conversations that I'll get to have with you all, because I'm very much a believer in, to make a destination succeed and a destination to do well, we really need to know our local operators, have great relationships with them, and talk on a regular basis. I love to hear the stories and the happenings of what's happening in your business, because it helps feed through to me to be able to promote, for instance. So please always feel like you can contact me anytime. If you've got a story to share or an experience to share, I'd love to hear it. So yeah, reach out to me on a regular basis. I love talking with the industry. But part of that, I had to second change it to that, I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, so industry obviously is very important, and I want to make sure that you guys can connect on a regular basis. And the fact that we can do that is fantastic. Last week I was at the Victorian Tourism Conference. I was lucky enough to go to that event, and there was 800 people from industry together for the first time, and there was this really great sense of hope in terms of what is happening in Victoria moving forward. So we were lucky enough to receive some really good presenters, talking researchers that know a lot more about data insight and business and consumer confidence than I do. And overwhelmingly, there seemed to be this sense that consumer confidence is rising, business confidence is rising, and also intention to travel is rising as well in terms of consumer sentiment. So there was a real collective thinking around last year. People were spending their disposable income on things, whereas this year there's definitely going to be focused on spending on experiences, which is great for us. That's what we want to focus on, and really good linkage into today. So as you guys know, this tonight was the kicking off of our workshops that we'll be doing with Despina, who I'll introduce you to in a moment. It's all around creating experiences, creating packaging, and working out the best way to communicate those experiences and those products. So tonight, Despina is going to be talking about the ins and outs of that, and then you guys will get the chance to talk to one another, which will be a really good opportunity to tap into each other's creative thinking, but also share a little bit about what you do, what your business does, and what the visitor experience is that you guys offer to people. So linking, I'm very much, I have my personal mantra is never underestimate the value of conversation, because you just never know what the outcome's going to be. So have a chat and just see where it naturally goes. So yeah, Despina will do a presentation, and then we'll have some time for some networking, and and then we'll continue on after that. But yeah, I'm going to introduce you virtually to Despina, who's from the Institute of Excellence. I have been fortunate to know Despina for quite some time. She's worked in the tourism world for quite some time. I first met Despina when she worked for Global Ballooning, which is a company out in the Yarra Valley. But I'm sure Despina will introduce who she is and what her background is, so I won't take that opportunity away from her. But Despina, I'm handing it over to you. And you're on mute.
I really wanted to not have the you're on mute, and there we are. It couldn't get away. I'm so excited to at least still be with you guys despite the unfortunate circumstances of also being hit with the with the non-COVID flu. But we thought, like Renee said, it's better better to be safer than and keep things virtual in this case. Thank you, Renee. I have worked alongside Renee in parallel universes for a long time. She has a great experience, and it's wonderful to work with Renee and collaborate in what I'll be sharing with all of you again today. So you can all hear me okay? You can all see the screen okay? And I am recording, which is great too. Like Renee said, today we're really going to talk about experience by design and creating smart collaboration, give you a taster of the masterclass that is running next week, and the series of workshops that will follow that have been proudly supported by Frankston City Council in collaboration with myself and Institute of Excellence. And really it's encapsulating experiences holistically, not just what we deliver when we have the great fortune of having a customer or a visitor or a guest in front of us, but also the journey that we're sending our visitors when they are in the dream state of not knowing where to go, what to do, what to eat, what to drink, and how we are extending that experience from a pre, during, and post when they are going on the journey with our business. So just to give you a little insight, there are a few hats that I wear outside of the main mother hat of being a mother to my 3 kids and wifey to my lovely husband. So I have my boutique, beautiful business, Institute of Excellence. I did spend over 10 and a half years as the balloon girl, running and building from very ground grassroots of a hot air balloon operation in Victoria, Renee was mentioning earlier, that flew over the Yarra Valley and our wonderful great city of Melbourne. No, unfortunately, we can't come out that way. It's just too, the sea breeze in the ocean, not so great. But I've definitely have explored and spoke to a lot of balloonists about how can we get out to Mornington Peninsula and Frankston and surrounds. So this is a collection of, I also run at the moment a great organization called Tourism Tribe, and a very proud trainer in the accredited training space, delivering the first diploma of social media marketing in Australia, and that's with the wonderful people at Monarch Institute. So I wear these hats, and a collection of everything that I've done to this point in education, in tourism, and in digital is what I'm putting all together to share with you wonderful businesses of Frankston, so we can really ignite your excellence and leverage every opportunity that is available to you at the moment to go to not only, I mean, I think now we're kind of past the recovery stage. It's just how can we really prosper after what we've all been through in the last 12 months. I do, if we want to go fast, go alone, go far, we go together. This is something in my journey, particularly the crust and the guts of me lives in small tour operation world. It's very difficult. I still check the weather and I can know if it's a flyable day or not. It's that much ingrained into my DNA. But what I have learned in every success that I was able to achieve in not only in global ballooning, was in the we philosophy, what I call in the go together. I became an extension of my local community, whether it was my RTO, our 2 local councils, because I was, flying in 2 operations. Some of you might also have multiple locations in your businesses, but I really took that on. I guess that was more organic. At the time, just like there were no social media workshops or digital marketing workshops for the small business, that was just something I was learning on the fly. Like I'm sure if any, I can see you, put your hand up if you feel like you've learnt this stuff on the fly over the last 15, 20 years. Not many, some. Yeah, we can so this is what I experienced as well. And I guess that was my interest in writing a book and getting into the education space, as I felt I didn't feel at the time, it was all new. I didn't feel at the time. So I really embraced this we philosophy of knowledge sharing and of prosperity within our regions. And that's what I want to really inspire and ignite in you guys, that for each of us to succeed, all of us must succeed, particularly when it comes to promoting and growing a destination. We must tell the story of the collective first. So when it comes to the narrative of inspiring the visitor to come and join our destination, it's up to our individual businesses to also share that narrative, where it's not just come to eat with me or play with me or come and experience my product. There's also bigger reasons if we want that tourism dollar to extend further. The other part of the we philosophy is engaging our local community. So part of the we philosophy is really respecting our locals, that they are really the first to be our raving fans and local ambassadors for our business. Do right by them, they will tell people. So not discarding that the visitor experience or the tourist. Is that a bit of echo there? That the visitor experience or the guest experience is only for people, for inbounders coming from the outside. It's an inside out job at the moment. This is where even from an international marketing sense, and yes, there are some operators and, global ballooning, certainly it was, the international market, the business really hurt. In fact, I went back as a CEO and, when the first Chinese borders were closed to groups, I knew that this business was reminiscent of when I first started 17 years ago, and that they won't be needing a CEO for some time. But what we did start with was strong local community before we had domestic or international visitors. So the we philosophy has many definitions, but I think it's more of a case of starting local to build that brand ambassadorship. Now, the whole concept of tourism, by way of dictionary definition, you can see here, our entire industry exists on the collective. Industry of information, accommodation, transformation, hospitality, retail, and other services to the tourist experience. So this is what we have to, the whole concept of creating collaborations, creating packages, creating a variety of different experiences is the whole reason why we exist. And I only need to engage in, kind of get you thinking about your last holiday or your next holiday, that place. It's, you don't, sometimes maybe it's that one thing that's getting you there. it might be an event, it might be, you know, something like, you know, something like ballooning. It is aspirational. Someone would come to the Yarra Valley just to go on balloon flight, but then it was up to us as a ballooning business. The we philosophy is, I don't want them to be done at breakfast, because that's all we did. Sunrise flight, breakfast. I don't want to take them back straight to the city. How can we inspire them to stay longer? So we had to become ambassadors of our other local businesses. So this is especially for the business of pleasure. We're memory makers. We're experience makers. We are, you know, I mean, thank God we're not, you know, that what we offer is happiness. It's good stuff. And it's really, we always have to keep fine tuning and building our muscle of believing in our own purpose to extend that into our collective efforts of how we promote ourselves. And this is where the we philosophy extends to another one of my formulas. When my young son saw this in the background when I was putting this together, Mama, you got it wrong. I said, oh, honey, yes, I did, but I'm trying to, it's a metaphor for people working together, that when two people can come together that are like-minded and have a win-win attitude, more than just two things, but, you know, it becomes more than two. There's a lot of things that can, you know, a lot of ways that we can benefit. And I will give you so many examples of the different ways I've seen that I have experienced myself, and the way I've seen businesses come together to achieve some outstanding outcomes when they have a we philosophy embedded in their DNA. And I'm sure that's something that I would love for you after this presentation, in the rest of your evening, to also share with each other. You know what Despina was saying, I've done that before with XYZ. Inspire each other with any initiative that you've been able to extend in the past that has worked really well in that collaborative spirit. But when it comes to collaboration, I'll touch on packaging, but I also want to touch on the three factor is, first and foremost, that's collaboration, the business or industry that provides all of this good stuff that we spoke about. Now, I loved at the conference where Renee was, there was a fantastic restaurateur, Shane Delia. He has the Maha restaurant, and he's also the brainchild. He's incredible innovation when his 4 restaurants and a new restaurant that he just launched in December. He shared, it was one of my highlights at the tourism conference. He shared that at the end of the day, my role in hospitality is to be hospitable, make people feel good and produce good stuff. So he extended that to his new business, Providor, and it was every inch of a we philosophy, that it wasn't just about his business surviving through this lockdown. And I mean, he was extending that kind of, that premium restaurant was a whole other kettle of fish. It's not an Uber Eats type of experience. So he come up with Providor, and it was such a selfless, abundant approach to, I don't want just my restaurant to succeed here. I want all of these top end of town experiences that are really going to, you know, hemorrhage and suffer through this. And if you haven't heard of that, I would encourage you to look up Shane and his story. So that's the whole spirit of collaboration. Now, the other part of this that we'll speak a lot about is the experiences. This is the activity, the action, and I'll talk more that we've got to work a bit harder at the experience. That now, really, the globe, we've had the sharing economy, we've had, you know, we've got we've had all these different disruptions, but now the new economy is the transformational economy, that we want experiences. We want to spend our money on things that will make us different, that will come out on whatever it is that we may want to do, whether it is a beautiful restaurant or going to the theatre. It's something that, how can we create some level of transformation to our guests? And then there's the marketing, the promotion of the visitor experience, the promotion, and again, the story that we share of what it is that we, what is the promise that we will deliver, and staying true to that. So this is the experience design part. What you have the opportunity, and I, in originally speaking with Amy, in originally speaking with Amy, I said, oh man, this is something, what a great, amazing opportunity for your local community to not only invest in you to create packages, but even that burning idea or desire that you've had for some time, that now you can have, you can have some support to make it happen. Now, I'm working a lot one-on-one with businesses from around the country at the moment to create these transformational experiences, not only in product, but digital transformations. And I wanted to give you an insight of an operator in the Whitsundays and his ability. Now, what Roy, and the company is Explore Whitsundays, sailing operator. Now, he had a very, 80% of his business was international. So he knew, for me to get through this, I need to extend something that is going to appeal to a domestic market, or a more localized market. So his experience design, in the way that he was able to create something that's transformational to delight guests, improve marketing, enhance his profile on all his digital platforms, and also an ability to ignite his online reputation. So this is something that we really worked on together in rolling out a new experience. So what he was able to do was extend the sailing to a walk. So being able to sail, he's got a special power. He's got something very unique in his business, that he can go where no bus or car can go. So his experience by design was creating a 5-day experience and a journey that included sailing the Whitsundays, but also walking in incredible places that you can't get to. Now that inspires me. I see an operator. This was always at his fingertips, but this is where crisis created an opportunity. And this is what I want to evoke and start thinking about for you. Think about where you're at. What's your unique thing that you may, will be sitting there like treasure in a beautiful box that just needs to be opened. Now, talking about how this is extended to and leveraged out into an experience. Also, we've got the product, but now when we think about the digital journey and the visitor journey, how we let people know about this? How we've collaborated to put something together. We know now we've got something really special in our experience, but when it comes to the marketing, I just want to give you again an example of what the team did. So here they created what's called more so like a lead magnet. So sometimes you might see Walk the Whitsundays, but I'm not ready to marry it yet. I'm curious, and I would love to put that on my bucket list, because, I can't go overseas on that overseas holiday. Or maybe a 5-day Whitsunday trip might be for me. but I don't necessarily, I would love to stay in touch with this company, but I'm not necessarily ready to take any action. So the way he was able to capture an email address and keep communicating to a website visitor when he can't be there to say, "G'day, how can I take your email address and I'll let you know when more places open, or keep you posted with what's happening." What he was able to do was create a bit of a lead magnet in digital terms, which is basically giving something away for free in exchange for a website visitor's email address. And he did this by a way of requesting a brochure. So he didn't give a brochure away. He created the brochure behind the scenes that you have to give your email. And by this way, he's been able to grow his database by over 700 subscribers just for this special tour. So this is what the brochure looks like. So as soon as you sign up, you'll receive the brochure. But where we took things to another level with Roy, with the Explore with Sunday proposition, is, okay, I'm excited. This brochure now has built 700 subscribers. Let's get you in front of them and essentially do what we're doing here right now. So we said, let's create a bit of all these frequently asked questions. Let's create a bit of an educational seminar. So like you would an information night about this tour and why it's so unique. And this way they get to know the man behind the business too. Because we know, right? Sometimes we buy people, we're into the story. So this way, Roy and his main man, Jamai, were able to put together a Walk the Sundays, your 7 frequently asked questions answered. Who loves that? So this way, he was able to get more subscribers, and now his experience is really, he's creating this holistic. I've put a new product by way of a transformational experience on my shelf, but now I've got to, what am I going to do to bookend it? So that I've always got people coming in the funnel that I can keep I'm using the analogy, keep watering my garden, okay, so that it keeps growing and flourishing. And then at the end, of this journey, create more conversion. So there's always people coming up the line to the pointy end of, then feeling confident enough to put skin in the game and say, yes, I'm ready to now come on board. So there's an example, a short example in our time of experience design that I'd like you to think about. Now, the reason for this, and I'll explain more because I want to give you a little exercise before we wrap up. And I want you to start thinking about, what is this going to be for you in terms of applying for this opportunity to get funded to create your own experience. What will it be? Will it be something that is already using the resources that you have, that you could potentially partner with some local suppliers? Or will it be a collaborative experience? And I'll give you an example of that now moving forward. Now, in this environment, I'm happy to stay for questions. I'll also leave my details with Renee. You can contact me even if something is not coming to you now, but you want to run something by me between now and next week, feel free to email me as well. So that's when we come the second phase. So it can either go forth and create an experience by design. And we're talking also, let's not disregard, an experience can also be an exclusive event. We can create a bit of FOMO, and and an experience can also be something seasonal by way of an event that could become something inaugural that you run every year or every quarter. So it's time to get our creative juices flowing. But then there's packaging and creating smart collaborations. Again, I've got a full couple of hours of this to share with you next week. But to give you more of an idea of what this concept is really comes from is honing in on what makes us unique as a community, what makes us different to any other Bayside city, town, or collective in Victoria and beyond, or interstate. And that's really thinking of this again in a broader, bigger sense of your destination. What is it that we can really leverage here that makes us unique? Now, further to this, this is my best proven formula that I would use. Like I packaging in, our wonderful little ballooning business through the entire duration of my time there. And this is a 17-year journey that I've had with this business. Collaboration and packages, and always looking for gaps, was by far one of the most proven, trusted growth strategies that I would always apply into our business. So going into an event like you are tonight, anyone that I would meet, I would have that mindset on. How can we work together? How can we help each other? So I'm going to give you the simplest formula. Now, if you've got notepads or your phone out in your notes, but you won't even need that. It's so simple for you to always remember. Now, the first thing that we do with this formula, and this 3-step collaboration formula, I want you to think deeply about what you do and what you do really, really well, that not many other people can do as well as you. Okay. So where does your expertise lie? Your mastership. Okay. So this is the first step of the 3-step collaborative formula. The second step is, okay, so example, what I knew I did really, really well and the best, I with conviction, I knew we were the best ballooning operator in Victoria, if not Australia. And we did that really, really well. The second step for you, after you've really got, yep, that's what I do, is to think about what don't you do and what is something you never want to do. So again, as an example, for me, what I didn't do was provide an overnight stay. And also what I didn't do, knowing that ballooning is synonymous with champagne, is that I didn't have a desire for a restaurant or anywhere to serve, some breakfast and a champagne, and some bubbly after the flight to celebrate. But knowing as an experience, the balloon flight needed something at the end of it to celebrate the occasion. So I want you to think about what you don't do. And then there's the final piece, that even though you may realize that there's something that, like in my case, I knew that, we were never interested in buying a hotel or a B&B in the Yarra Valley or a restaurant or a winery, off the cards. But we knew that that would complement and work so beautifully and synonymously as an experience that we could offer our guest. And that's the final and the best part of what can I do? What can I do when I partner with the right business? And that's the great thing. And that was my first experience in business of really putting this into play, that what we do is hot air ballooning. What we don't do is accommodation. So then get together, at the time, it was the Cebu Lodge. Now it's Yarra Valley Lodge. They were on this beautiful golf course, new accommodation and a restaurant. So suddenly what I can do is create an extended stay and fly package and experience. So now I'm giving reason to contribute to my local economy by extending to my visitors to our website, to our email subscribers, to, you know, well, at this time, there was no social media. I mean, I really started my social media marketing through email marketing, and so did all of you. The first time you sent a group email, that's when you got social with it. But this was my first taste of it. And then I didn't stop. Every year there was a new experience, but at the end of the day, all we did was the first one. Operationally, our insurances, our vehicles, everything that goes into running a business was only in the first component, but we were able to extend our product offering through collaboration. And this is the part where I'd love for you to work the room tonight and explore, are there others in the room that you may be able to establish the can-do part together? Are there people that are not in the room that you possibly have always wanted to work with, that you think now's the time? I've been putting this off to reach out and have that coffee or have that conversation, but now's the time to reach out to them. Because I started with the Yarra Valley, and then when it came to launching Melbourne, I strategically wanted to align the can-do part with a global brand, because I knew international markets were on our side. We wanted to be, we wanted to kind of go through the journey to become an international business and get into play in that stage. So strategically, little old Despina went to Hilton, that was Hilton, now it's Pullman out in East Melbourne. And never underestimate the power of, if you go back to what makes you unique, because although they were a global brand, working with a ballooning product, it just worked so well for their corporate business, for their leisure guests, that they had a collaboration. And that's where we went back to enjoy the champagne breakfast after the Melbourne City flight. So, my dear friends, I wish I could be there working the room with you all and giving you all a high five. This is what I would love for you. Tonight is the beginning, but between now and next week, you will get the best out of this session, our session together next week, because it will be all centered around what are all the different elements that you need to think about to go commercial with something like this, which is beautiful. There's so many benefits to it, because, outside this investment of $2,000, if you were to create something like this, depending on what level of infrastructure you might need, could all go towards enhancing, marketing, and promoting your new experience and the way that you distribute it. So tonight, when you're talking to each other, and please do take the time that you have. And sorry if I'm going, I'll start to wrap up, Renee and Jess. I want you to think about, when you're speaking to another business, come from the place of, how can I help them? What do I have that would really add value to this business that's in front of me? Because great things happen. Again, when we think, like, when we extend ourselves to say, how can I help you, more than what can you do for me? We really want to approach this with the essence of that we philosophy. So that is what we will end on, building each other up and helping each other grow. I love to start with quotes and finish with quotes. You'll learn that over the next few weeks. If you found this valuable, this is also something that you'll learn. We want to extend our online reputation and practicing what I teach, that if you found this segment and this time valuable, please feel free to visit my little facey page there of Institute of Excellence, and I would love your review. Or alternatively, please, there's my email there, despina@instituteofexcellence.com. If you have any questions, if you want to kind of you know, if you want to reach out about anything that has ignited a thought or something that you'd like to bring to the table next week about what you want to work on, also amazing. So I want to say thank you. That's the end of my presentation. I hope if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Has anyone got any questions? Despina can hear us. So if anyone does have any questions, there's a good chance if there's any that you're thinking of tonight. Any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you so much, Despina. I really appreciate you delivering this in unique, well, it's not really unique circumstances anymore, is it?
Look, I think it was the true essence of collaborating today, of like, okay, we've got 2 soldiers down. How can we make this work? Did you, I guess, is anyone thinking of some ideas by show of hands? Is there some thoughts in there? So that's amazing. Okay. So that's great. I will sleep a little bit better after I pop some Panadol. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Renee and Jess.
Thank you, hun. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
So we've recorded this presentation. So